You are sitting at a red light on a random Monday morning. Look to your left. There's a guy in a brand new $80,000 European SUV. The paint is flawless. The leather is pristine. He looks like he's conquered the world. But if you could hear his heartbeat, it's frantic. His palms are sweating against that hand-stitched steering wheel because his phone just buzzed with an overdraft alert. He financed that heavy metal box for 84 agonizing months. He is playing the ultimate corporate Godinez, trapped in an endless cycle of middle management meetings, desperately trying to impress a vice president who doesn't even know his last name. He is the absolute definition of premium broke. Now look to your right. There's a guy in a 6-year-old silver Japanese sedan. It's got a slight, unapologetic dent on the passenger door. He's wearing a plain, unbranded cotton t-shirt. He's listening to a podcast, drinking black coffee brewed in his own kitchen. His heart rate is at a dead resting pace. He looks like a disposable background character in the movie of life. But here is the brutal, mathematical reality society begs you to ignore. The passive dividend income from that guy's investment portfolio could buy the luxury SUV on your left in pure cash every single quarter. He is a financial ghost, and he holds all the leverage. We have been perversely conditioned to associate money with noise. We think wealth is loud. We think it screams from flashy luxury logos, modified engine exhausts, and perfectly curated Instagram dinners. The modern American dream has violently mutated into a twisted performance art. Success is no longer measured by freedom. It is measured by how much suffocating debt you can casually carry without having a public, nervous breakdown. You're secretly terrified of an unexpected medical bill. You're drowning in a student loan for a degree you don't even use. But you make absolutely sure your designer watch catches the light in the elevator. The entire modern consumer machine is an elaborate, neon-lit mousetrap, and the cheese is nothing but cheap social validation. They sell you the toxic illusion of status, and you happily trade your finite, unrecoverable life force to pay the interest. The true architects of wealth refuse to participate in this pathetic circus. They have mastered the dark art of invisibility. They blend perfectly into the dull, aesthetic mediocrity of everyday life. They are completely and utterly immune to the pathological, bankrupt need for your approval. They don't want you to know they have money, because being seen as rich is a massive liability. It attracts parasites. Being actually wealthy is an invisible armor. So, how do you spot them? If they deliberately wear plain clothes, drive invisible cars, and live in unpretentious neighborhoods, how do you recognize the quiet predators moving silently through the financial matrix? What is the invisible, almost disturbing behavioral detail in the routine of that perfectly average person sitting right next to you that proves they could buy your entire life in a single wire transfer? The clues aren't in the objects they purchase. The clues are hidden in the invisible social games they actively refuse to play. The signs are buried in their total lack of reaction to the financial chaos that keeps everyone else awake at night. But the crazy part isn't that they hide. The crazy part is the invisible system that convinced you that you needed to show off just to survive. And once you see the very first sign of a financial ghost, you can never unsee it. The modern economy is a perfectly engineered, psychological meat grinder. You clock in, trade your irreplaceable hours for dollars, and clock out emotionally hollow. The system knows you're bleeding. It knows that when you're exhausted from appeasing a boss you despise, your self-esteem is heavily vulnerable. So it offers you a quick hit of dopamine. It promises that swiping your credit card for a luxury item will make you feel respected. It won't. You're just a lab rat pressing the lever for a pellet of fake prestige, happily locking the door to your own cage from the inside. Society has successfully weaponized your insecurity, turning your fear of being average into their largest profit margin. The vanity tax is the most expensive fee a human being will ever pay, and it doesn't go to the government. It goes directly to European conglomerates selling you pieces of stitched canvas for the price of a reliable used car. The people who actually control their destiny look at this theater and laugh. They simply refuse to participate because the next sign of someone who possesses life-altering, invisible wealth is a visceral repulsion to the uniform of the premium broke. Rule 1. The brandless camouflage. If you look closely at the truly financially insulated, they dress like they're going to paint a hallway. They have entirely removed themselves from the logo Olympics. A walking billboard is just someone desperately screaming for the world to calculate their net worth. When you have nothing left to prove, your aesthetic becomes aggressively boring. They wear plain, unbranded T-shirts not because they're cheap, but because they refuse to pay a luxury brand to do their marketing for them. They look at a $1,000 belt with a giant gold logo and see exactly what it is: a clown nose for adults drowning in high-interest debt. They treat the modern consumer matrix like a hostile environment, and plain clothes are their tactical stealth suit. But the camouflage goes deeper than fabric. The ultimate defense mechanism of the stealth wealthy is how they react when the herd tries to drag them into a measuring contest. You'll see it at corporate happy hours and suburban neighborhood parties. The moment someone starts bragging about their newly leased sports car, watch the quiet predator in the corner. They don't challenge the claim. They don't counter with their own achievements. They deploy a psychological shield that confuses the hell out of the average consumer. Rule 2. The social ghost protocol. The next sign is the absolute refusal to win irrelevant conversations. The premium broke need you to know they're winning. They'll interrupt you to drop the name of the exclusive resort they just financed on a rewards credit card. The stealth wealthy? They'll sit there, sip their tap water, and nod enthusiastically while a guy making a fraction of their passive income explains his brilliant strategy for success. Arguing over status is a game for peasants. The moment you try to prove you're doing well, you've already lost. The truly rich find a perverse, silent joy in being underestimated. Because being underestimated means nobody is looking at your pockets. They embrace the silence, letting the loud, broke masses fight for scraps of attention. Let's do the math. The financial industry desperately hopes you never figure out. You see a coworker upgrade his lifestyle the exact second he gets a promotion. He gets a 10% raise, and suddenly he is driving a $60,000 truck he financed over 84 months. He thinks he is moving up in the world. He isn't. He just agreed to pay a massive premium to run infinitely faster on the exact same wheel. The system absolutely relies on this biological flaw. My perspective on this is cold but accurate. Society doesn't punish people for being broke. It punishes them for being desperately impatient. The entire modern luxury economy is essentially an impatience tax levied on individuals who cannot tolerate the lonely process of actually building wealth in the dark. Let's look at the brutal opportunity cost. That shiny truck costs him around $900 a month, plus heavy insurance and premium gas. He feels incredibly powerful at the red light. But the math is a slaughterhouse. If he drove a boring, paid-off sedan and deployed that $900 every month into a standard index fund, compounding at 8% over 25 years, he wouldn't just have a nice truck. He would have over $800,000 in liquid equity. He literally traded $800,000 of future freedom for a heated steering wheel and a new car smell that evaporates in 3 weeks. The banking sector engineered the perfect mousetrap. They convinced the pack of lab rats to voluntarily trade decades of compounding leverage for the momentary, pathetic high of looking successful in traffic. The truly wealthy look at this math and feel physically sick. Which brings us to the defining separator between those who perform wealth and those who actually possess it. Rule 3. The frictionless math. The stealth wealthy do not keep their capital trapped in depreciating metal or stitched fabric. They keep it in frictionless, invisible assets. When you observe their daily life, you cannot see their money. You can't visually measure a brokerage account. You can't see the silent, relentless accumulation of dividend-paying stocks. You can't see the real estate trust that drops cash into their checking account on the first of the month while they are busy drinking cheap coffee. They operate in a completely different dimension of capital. They aren't trying to out-earn their reckless spending. They are building a self-sustaining machine. The guy next to you in the faded jacket doesn't check his bank account to see if he can afford a vacation. He checks his portfolio to see if he wants to buy the property. But acquiring those invisible assets is only half the equation. The real secret of the stealth wealthy is how they handle the immense psychological pressure of earning more money in a culture obsessed with flexing. The premium broke escalate their spending the second their paycheck increases. They suffer from severe lifestyle creep, ensuring they remain exactly one missed paycheck away from total disaster. The financial ghosts do the exact opposite. They practice a psychological discipline that looks like sheer insanity to the average consumer. Rule 4, the Anchor Protocol. The next sign is the absolute refusal to upgrade their lifestyle when their income skyrockets. When a financial ghost gets a massive year-end bonus, their neighborhood doesn't change. Their car doesn't change. Their wardrobe remains the exact same, dull camouflage. The only thing that changes is the aggressive speed at which they are buying back their time. They anchor their baseline cost of living to their past, using the massive new surplus to quietly fund their permanent escape. They don't celebrate a financial win by buying a slightly bigger cage with gold-plated bars. They buy the master key. They understand the ultimate mathematical truth. Every single time you inflate your lifestyle to match your new income, you forcefully reset your escape clock back to zero. You voluntarily put the collar back on your own neck, and they will never let that happen. The ultimate tragedy of the modern worker is not their lack of income. It is their absolute terror of being perceived as ordinary. They don't actually want to be free. They just want a much more comfortable leash. They crave the momentary, intoxicating illusion of power that comes with paying the check at an overpriced, mediocre restaurant in Polanco or a beachfront trap in Tulum. They are completely blind to the agonizing reality that the bartender swiping their platinum card likely has a higher net liquid worth than they do. The system feeds entirely on this specific vanity. It provides the shiny cheese, and the lab rats gladly break their own necks in the trap just to take a bite on camera. But when you finally cross the threshold from performing wealth to actually possessing it, something violent shifts in your brain chemistry. The burning desire to impress strangers completely evaporates. You start looking at luxury boutiques not as symbols of success, but as neon-lit financial slaughterhouses. You realize that the guy screaming at the valet because his leased sports car got scratched is trapped in a mental prison he enthusiastically built for himself. The true financial ghosts look at that chaos and feel absolutely nothing but profound pity. They have engineered a life so insulated from societal pressure that they become entirely unrecognizable to the herd. They don't just ignore the game. Rule 5. The ultimate disconnect. The final and most absolute sign of a secretly wealthy individual is their deep, unapologetic embrace of social irrelevance. They have almost zero digital footprint. They do not post their vacations. They do not check into VIP lounges to let their hometown know they made it. They have discovered the greatest, best-kept secret of the modern consumer age. Being a nobody is the ultimate superpower. When nobody knows you have capital, nobody expects you to pick up the exorbitant dinner tab. Nobody pitches you their terrible startup idea. Stealth wealth is the quiet art of building an impenetrable fortress of solitude out of index funds and silent cash flow. The premium broke are terrified of being forgotten. The stealth wealthy pray to remain unseen. Getting to this point requires a psychological rewiring that most people simply cannot survive. The media condition you to believe that making money is an adrenaline rush. It isn't. The brutal truth about real wealth creation is that it is agonizingly, painfully boring. It is a dull, unsexy spreadsheet updated once a month. It is the automated transfer of funds into a brokerage account while you are asleep. It is the absolute refusal to touch the principal balance, even when the market drops and the herd starts violently panicking. If your financial strategy is exciting, you are not investing. You are gambling at a casino where the house has rigged every single table. The ghosts know that boredom is the ultimate filter that keeps the weak out of the winner's circle. Picture the exact opposite of the red light where we started. It's a Tuesday at 10 in the morning. The highways are gridlocked with terrified employees gripping their steering wheels, sweating through their dress shirts, desperately racing toward a cubicle to appease a manager they secretly hate. They are running full speed on the wheel. And then there is the ghost. They are sitting on a worn-out couch, wearing cheap sweatpants, watching the rain hit the window. No alarm clock, no calendar invites, no frantic emails, just the absolute, deafening silence of owning every single second of their own existence. That is the only flex that actually matters. The ability to look at the relentless, crushing machinery of the modern world and confidently say, I don't need you anymore. If you made it to the exit of this video, drop a comment below saying depreciating illusion. The algorithm won't understand it. The premium broke will scroll right past it. But the ghosts will see it. We will know exactly who is quietly buying back their freedom in the dark. My name is Daniel Rath. Stop chasing the cheese and walk out of the maze.